Yeah, let's keep on pushing the carnival.
Push the carnival.
Pushing the carnival. Yeah, push the carnival to the front, to the front, to the front, to the back, to the back, to the back, to the side, to the side,
to the left, to the left, to the left, to the right, to the right, to the right, to the right.
This is your Slice Night tour guide, Beach Llama. Follow the magic stick. Beautiful people, it's time once more for another edition of your favorite infotainment segment, Slice Night Tour Guide. Today's episode is a very special one. We'll be talking about Aruba's biggest party, the celebration of celebrations, Carnaval. We'll jump into its history and how Aruba's diverse society played a major role in its development, from the music to the parades, pageants, and a little bit of everything in between. Mind you, we will be oversimplifying and focusing on the major aspects of Carnaval for information retention purposes. So get ready to whine, grab that towel, and jump up! It's time for Carnaval. Although to be fair, the season actually officially opens in the fall on November the 11th, to be exact, at the 11th minute of the 11th hour of the day. The parades, pageants, and music competitions kick off from January onward as not to overshadow the Christmas and New Year's celebrations. By now you know yours truly loves history, for it is the benchmark for the development of our society. So in keeping with the propagation of curiosity and decimation of island information, I sat down with who I personally, in humblest opinion, consider is the most knowledgeable person on this subject matter. So, without further ado, here we go.
Carnival as a whole, let's say a tradition, a celebration that is celebrated yearly, is something that you can find in many parts of the world, in different varieties. Some with using the term carnival, so farewell to the flesh, which was then actually originated in the, let's say, southern part of Europe, especially in the Roman Catholic
Pagan,
areas and so
Christian,
forth. Exactly.
Lent,
Exactly, and the pre-Lenten carnival, and where actually carnival is symbolized, or the end is symbolized with the burning of the momo, which is on, let's say, on Tuesday prior to Ash Wednesday. That form of carnival actually is the carnival that we also have on Aruba. But if you really look at it specifically in the Caribbean as a whole, there are many carnivals celebrated all throughout the Caribbean, of course in Latin America as well, and other parts. And some of them are celebrating, let's say, the pre-Lenten carnival, but some of them are also carnivals that are celebrated or tied to, let's say, Fiesta de Cosecha, so let's say harvest festivals. So for example, in Barbados, their carnival is tied to what they call crop over. And you also have and different, let's say St. Vincent, let's say US Virgin Islands also have their carnival during a particular time of the year. So let's say year end, prior to New Year's and so forth.
Yes.
So there are several varieties. But just to go back to carnival, we see that carnival is what we call in the Caribbean a sort of a creolization tradition, or a Creole tradition. Meaning that it has influence from many different parts of the world, but because it is, let's say, it has been honed here, it has been developed here, it has created its own characteristics. So in that sense, there were, prior to, let's say, the official start of Carnival in Aruba, which is, let's say, the official start date we consider to be 1954.
Yes.
But you also have, let's say, prior to that, you also had different groups amongst the island who were celebrating in different, let's say, in clubs, in private settings and so forth, using specific traditions. But let's say European traditions, Southern European traditions, and so forth, like the prince and the pancho, the role of the queen, the role of the joker, and so forth. You would see that. But there are also other forms that were actually part of, let's say, more connected to the pueblo, more connected to the communities and so forth, and that has a very strong, let's say, Afro-Caribbean tradition. That type of carnival, and which is let's say the most popular form in Aruba, was actually for the most part developed in the area of San Nicolas, and that was very much connected to, let's say, the migration, let's say what we would consider because of black gold, migratory processes, groups coming to Aruba. And that's where you got the mixing of different cultures, different traditions, with a strong Afro-Caribbean basis. So the drum, call and response, critique on power structures. So expressing yourself in double entente, meaning double meaning. So all of these traditions were actually came together and became very popular in this part of the island. So you can also connect, let's say, traditions such as Juve, which is, let's say, the pre-dawn celebration throughout the night, or let's say the overgang, the transition. So all of these things took part in the area of San Nicolas, and today that is, I would say, one of the strongest influences on Aruban Carnival. But as a whole, I would say Carnival is a Creole, let's say a festival, a celebration that it has so many different elements, and these elements have come together and created its own thing. So you can say that they are, everyone wants to claim their part of the pie, or they want to claim that part of the soup. It's just like a soup. It's like a stoba, it's like a soup. And in that soup you have different ingredients. And if you look at the origins of those ingredients, maybe one is, let's say, a European origin, maybe another one is a South American origin, an indigenous origin, and you also have the African origin. And I would consider that the foundation. But everyone, of course, has their right to claim their part, but together we create the carnival that we have in Aruba today. That we have so many years celebrating, and it's one of the most spectacular shows on earth.
It is. The district of San Nicolas is known affectionately as Sunrise City because it is to the east side of the island where the sun rises. Overlooking one of Aruba's most popular beaches, the remnant of the refinery lays in decay as a reminder of prosperous times gone by, juxtaposed by prosperity to come. Well, maybe, who knows. But this relic of fossil fuel had a direct and major impact on the development of Aruba's Carnival, especially on the music. Known as the poor man's newspaper, Calypso is a way to get to know the goings-on of the neighborhood and, of course, of the island and even world affairs. It serves as a vessel for establishment, critique, and exercise in verbal prowess. But before I get ahead of myself, I'll let the expert take the lead on this one.
Now, well, Calypso has a long history.
I know.
So Calypso actually has a history that is over 100 years old, and is one of the oldest, let's say, musical genres from the Anglophone Caribbean. So in other words, the English-speaking Caribbean. And its origins can be found on the island nation of Trinidad and Tobago. And but of course, throughout the years, through processes of migration, let's say, for the most part, for work, people moving from one area to the other. People also brought their culture with them, and that way, other islands also were introduced to, let's say, what we call the musical genre of Calypso. So in that sense, through migration to Aruba as well, especially in the, let's say, starting from 1924 onward, with the establishment of the Lago Oil Refinery, which was one of the biggest oil refineries in the world at the time. That stimulated an influx of migrants from different areas, especially from the English-speaking Caribbean, and they settled primarily in the area of San Nicolas, also other parts of Aruba as well, and of course they brought the music with them. And so Calypso, let's say we call Calypso the mother music. That's the music where people express themselves.
Wow. If the mighty talent don't know one thing what he talking about, but we all know they say they're going to help us in building up with San Nicolas. But the only thing we get is 2 buildings, won't finish yet.
And historically started actually on the plantation where those who were, let's say, made to be slaves, or let's say those who were quote-unquote captive, mentally they always found ways to escape that captivity. And one of the ways they did that is through music, through rhyme, through expression, through different forms of expressing their desires or what they actually had within them.
We've taken tired of promises. We need more than government offices. Prove to us that you can't start building hotels of hell. I say you build them here, you build them there. I see in new hotels everywhere. So much land in Greenfield we got for sale. Instead you build hotels, you build it. I hear you.
And especially the form of lamentation. So lamentation has been a lament, has been a complaint that actually was honed, was developed through Calypso.
Yeah.
And that tradition has also come to Aruba. And so just to go in a little bit into Calypso, you have different varieties of Calypso. You would have the slower version, which is more based on the lamentation of critique of let's say government, power, the power structures and so forth, society in general. And you would have the faster version, which was actually became very popular in the 70s, and this is what we call soca.
Road on fire, road on fire, road on fire, road on fire. Carnaval, bacchanal, come on, yo. Carnaval festival. Road on, jump up, jump up, jump up, jump up, jump up, jump up, jump up. Road on fire, road on fire, road on fire, road on fire.
The soul of Calypso.
Yes, yes.
Basically, all of them are part of the same, let's say, mother, Mama Calypso, you can say.
Yeah.
And soca is just another branch. And that variety is also very popular in Aruba, and especially during Carnival.
Yeah.
That's the main music that we actually we listen to, we jam to, we dance to, and so forth. And in Aruba, we have a generic term for this, which is for many Arubans, we consider this to be road march music. But let's say the official term would be soca. What is very interesting about Calypso is that Calypso, it really depends on where it's produced, where it's sung.
Yeah.
So that has influence on the instruments that are used, but the environment determines in many ways the topics that are sung about, but also the way it's expressed. And in our case, one of the, I would say, the identity markers of Aruban Calypso is actually the multilingual aspect.
Quem supera a forma e marca em Aruba. And who have to fight to work and to live with each other. Well, get rid of Aruba politic versic, dividing the pueblo on radio.
The fact that people on Aruba speak multiple languages. They have, let's say, more or less 4 languages in their repertoire, their language repertoire. And of course, English or English-based Creole or Caribbean English being the main format that is used to present Calypso in Aruba. But the Aruban Calypsonians, many of them, not all, like to infuse the different language elements.
Guys, that's it for today's episode, but no worries, there's more on the way. Stay tuned for the second part of this series. I do hope you enjoyed the tour. Don't forget to leave a like and a comment. Who knows? You might get a shout out on the next episode. By the way, links to our previous episodes, social media platforms, and website are in the description. And don't forget to subscribe to Djis YouTube and click that notification bell for more Slice Night content. As always, once a guest, always a friend. This is your Slice Night tour guide, Beach Llama. Follow the magic stick.